the end of the day, what matters most to me is my family. Welcome back to the Hybrid Athlete Dad podcast. Super excited to have you be tuning into today's show. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how I prioritize my health without neglecting my family. Now, before we get into today's episode, I'd like to go over anything in my personal life that I think that you may find interesting when it's health, fitness, or just honestly anything that I want to get off my chest. So, today's episode, unfortunately, don't have too much to share. I'm actually doing a double recording this week as I'm going to be on vacation next week, but still want to be able to produce an episode for you, for the listeners of the show. So, again, thanks for tuning into today's show. So, recording an episode yesterday, recording an episode today. One thing that's different between today and yesterday is that it is raining out, and it's not just a light rain, it is absolutely pouring rain, and it's a little chilly for the winter. It's 58 degrees. If I 58 degrees in the winter, or 58 degrees in the summer, a little cold. 58 degrees in the winter would be rather warm. So all relative at the end of the day. But I ended up doing 2 miles on the treadmill at the gym, 3 miles outside. I've been staying away from trying to break up the running, just doing the full 5 miles. But and a little bit in July, I was more susceptible to splitting it up and doing half and half with interviews and the weather. So it just made more sense to do it. But now, this past week, did 5 miles Monday, 7 miles Tuesday, and did those straight. And then I knew looking into today, the weather was, and I try to be smart with the weather when it rains. There's been instances where I've gone out when it's been cold in the winter and it's rained, or I've gone out when it's been hailing and I end up getting sick. I end up getting a really good cold out of it. So that's what I'm not trying to do. And I knew today that I think it's pretty much supposed to rain hard from when I got up this morning at 4:50 all the way till about 5 a.m., 6 a.m. tomorrow, or the next day, I should say. So quite a bit of rain, but went out, got the 3 miles done, came back absolutely soaked. I used a backup pair of running shoes because I knew that I couldn't use the shoes that I had on, or my typical Hokas that I'm going to be running in. But yeah, it wasn't the most enjoyable run, but went out there, got it done. Shirt was sticking to me, had dirt all over my legs from I didn't even run on the dirt, just from more cement asphalt hopping up on my legs, but made sure I left the towel by the door so as soon as I got home, I could dry off outside real quick and then hop in a shower and warm up. So glad to get that run over with, but I find that when it comes to running, there's so many times where when we're running, we can just make excuses that it's too cold out, that it's too hot out, that it's raining out, that it's snowing out. Yeah, you don't want to be stupid, and I don't want to push myself when it's 90-degree heat and get a heat stroke. Or conversely, if it's snowed out, I don't want to put myself in harm's way, but I don't want to make excuses to make excuses. I want to make sure that I absolutely positively can't get this run in. So today, I don't really enjoy running in the rain. I don't mind a light rain, but when it's a heavy rain, downpour, I don't enjoy it too much. But went out, got it done. I know that the next time it rains, I'm going to go back on the previous time that I'd run. Like, okay, I ran when it was pouring rain the entire run, and I got it done. So just working on the mental toughness aspect of it there. But yeah, got the run done in the rain today. I believe the only time I really haven't ran is whether it was like a full-on snowstorm or it was like whiteout conditions, and I ran through snow squalls where it is whiteout conditions suddenly while I'm running, and that's not too fun. But I have ran in the snow. I try to stay away from the slush if I can help it. That's just not enjoyable to run in, or black ice as well. But if it's just like a light rain or light snow, I'll be going outside. I'll be getting that run in. So try to push myself through every season, especially living here in New York, where we really do get the 4 different seasons that are out there. So super excited about that and about getting that run done. Just again, wasn't looking forward to it, but made sure I got it done anyways. So with all that said, let's hop into today's episode on how I prioritize my health without neglecting my family. I think this will be a rather quick episode. There's 2 main points that I really want to get across from you, and I've talked about them on before episodes, but I want to wrap them up into today's episode for you. So to give you some context, I have a wife, obviously, and a daughter. She just turned, I wouldn't say just turned, she's 2 years, about 2 months now, so a little over 2 years. And about 6 months into when my daughter was born, I had gained a little bit of weight. I was still going to the gym, but I wasn't focusing on what I was eating. I wasn't doing any cardio. And started working with a nutritionist. And then I discovered really what you consider a hybrid athlete. So if you're looking at the OG one, you're looking at Nick Bear. Saw his videos, saw a bunch of the crew that run with him, and started getting into cardio because of that. Now, since then, I made my health a priority, but at the same time, I don't want to neglect my family. And what I really mean by that is time spent away from them. How do I focus on my health and my nutrition without neglecting my family? And that's always the big question. Because there's only so much time in the day to get everything done. So I'll hop into the fitness aspect of it. Fitness, cardio, strength training, whatever you want to call it. So I strategically plan my workouts so I can spend more time with my wife and daughter. I don't want to do my runs when my daughter is home for the most part, unless something comes up, or maybe it's Saturday morning and I try to get them done before she wakes up. But I'm not doing them at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Typically doing them about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then when I am doing my strength training, I'm typically at the gym. It varies, but let's say on average I get to the gym between 5 and 5:30 in the morning to get my workout done. So that way I can get home by about 7 for when my daughter is waking up. So I always make sure that I get up early, but it wasn't always this way. I used to get to the gym for 7:30, but then over time started to get to the gym a little earlier. Then once we had our daughter and I was back to work, and I want to make sure that I'm always home for her about, it's probably about 80% of the time I'm home before she awakes. Sometimes it just happens to be she just happened to wake up early that day, but I make it a priority to make sure that on the majority of days that I am home so I can help get her out of bed with my wife. So I strategically plan my workouts early in the morning because I want to make sure that I'm home with my family. So that's non-negotiable, straightforward, every single day. Now, when it comes to the nutrition aspect of it, I just make my wife my meals, and I make our daughter. She has our dinner that we have. So whether we're having chicken, rice, and broccoli, which we have on Mondays, or whether we're having steak, we typically have rice and broccoli with almost every meal. So steak, and I'll make that for my daughter. So I just make sure that when I'm having my meals for my family, I just make sure to include them. It's pretty cut and dry. So I make sure that they enjoy what I'm eating. So sometimes I might make something and they might not like it, so I'll add something new to the mix. But I try to find recipes and meals that prioritize protein intake. Typically looking to get about 50 grams of protein per meal, along with getting a decent amount of fats and carbs, but good fats and carbs along with that. So during the week, I'll typically make lunch for myself, and then I'll make lunch for my wife as well. So right now, we've been buying these Purdue chicken breasts. They put in the oven, and I believe it's 26 grams of protein per 4 ounce of chicken breast. So I have two of those. So that's 8 ounces of chicken, 52 grams of protein. I'll make a cup of rice for each of us, and then I buy rice in a bag, and I have a rice cooker that makes it. And then I go to our local BJ's, and I'll buy a 5 pound bag of mixed vegetables, and I'll cook that up pretty much every day for lunch. And then in the morning, some days I'll have oatmeal and a bagel from Dave's Killer, along with a protein shake. So my daughter will have a bagel. My wife will have a bagel. Today we had eggs and sourdough, and I had a protein shake. My daughter had eggs and sourdough. So you can see what I'm getting at here is I try to make it as simple as possible. So whenever I eat, my wife and daughter are also going to eat. So if there's something that I like that they might not necessarily like, then I'm going to find something new. I'm not going to force them to eat something. Like if I liked Brussels sprouts and they didn't like it, I'm not going to force them to eat it. So I really try my absolute best to prioritize my workouts and prioritize my meals so that I'm home for my wife and daughter, and then they're eating what I'm eating, and I make that a priority because I see health as an investment in my family. Like when I feel good, my wife feels good. I want my daughter to feel good. Obviously, she likes candy, and whatnot. We try not to give her too much of it, but she's also 2 years old. But for the most part, I do like to have her eat what I'm eating, even though she obviously has no idea what I'm feeding her. but I just make that as an investment again in my family because I want to be around for a while. I want my wife to be around for a while. Obviously, I want my daughter to be around for a while. But honestly, for my daughter, it's creating these good habits in her so she can know, okay, this is what I'm having almost every single meal. And obviously, she doesn't know the why behind it, but she just gets used to it over time because I want her to eat healthy. I don't want her to go to the grocery store and buy chips and soda and Twinkies and other food. Yeah, it's occasionally you can have some of that in moderation, but I want her to know like what we prioritize is really our health within our family, whether it's having a nice piece of fish. So, give an example, I cook myself a piece of salmon. My wife doesn't like it, so she might cook herself some shrimp, but I'm making the salmon for myself. But I'll give my daughter a piece of salmon, and she really likes it. So I'm just incorporating it with my family the best that I can. Again, I want us to all feel good. I want us to all be optimized so that we can continue to all grow and get better as a family. And the last point I want to make on today's show or today's episode is that prioritizing your health isn't neglecting your family. It's really just setting the example and I'm giving them my best self. If I didn't go to the gym, if I didn't run, I probably wouldn't be in the best mood all day. I'd probably be lethargic, especially because I'm not someone that's out working a job, say, as a firefighter or a police officer or as a nurse. I'm someone that works a corporate gig that I'm sitting at my desk for 8 hours a day. So if I didn't get to the gym in the morning, if I didn't get a 5 or 6 mile run that day, I don't think that I'd be giving them my best self. And even when I consider my best self, it's if I'm training for a marathon, like what am I doing in my long runs? What's going on today? Because when you go out and do a 20-mile long run, it's it's pretty taxing on you, and you might be tired the rest of the day. So how can I strategically plan what I'm going to be doing in that long run so that I can maximize my time with my family so I'm not just lying around and sitting on the couch lethargic all day because that's not what I want. So it's just prioritizing your health. It's prioritizing your fitness and understanding that yes, I'm prioritizing them, but I'm not neglecting my family because I'm not spending excess hours at the gym. I'm not creating meals that they don't like. I'm making sure that I'm taking care of them first because like what I told you at the beginning of today's episode is that at the end of the day, what matters most to me is my family. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Again, it was going to be short and sweet. I say that there's not much to it, but it's really just strategically planning your workouts and incorporating your family members into the meals that you have. Now, I hope you tune into next week's episode where I discuss the truth about cardio versus strength training for dads.